Well, I can tell you a year ago, I didn't really envision this yet. But here we are, and we're at a crossroads here in Cobb County. And we have the opportunity and the responsibility to shift the balance of power from a Democrat stronghold that we've been under and turn it over to a Republican majority. But before I talk really about that, it's my why. Why is it? What's the big deal? Yes, I've been in business development and marketing, and I've loved getting to know people, especially when I work for an organization that helps homeless families. So I've worked with everybody from the up and out to the down and out. And as I've walked across this area, this whole thing that we call now District 2, the concerns are the same. It's, oh my gosh, can we live safely? And oh my goodness, can I make it? Can we thrive? Are we going to recognize this Cobb County in 5 years from now? So my why is because I'm a mom. My why is because I know what it's like to be meager in earnings, but I also know what it's like to have a pretty darn good bit. But the feelings are always the same. What does tomorrow hold? And quite frankly, when all of this came up with the illegal maps, I understood that our tomorrow was about to be stolen from us. Because when your constitutional officers take that oath and yet defy it by insisting on doing their own maps because they don't like what the law has, you have to make a change. Thank you. So I could either sit there and hope that someone else did it, or I could say, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm just Alicia, right? But one voice can make a huge difference. One voice can be the difference between a future where we are going to be taxed into absolute oblivion and the community will have to leave because we can't afford it anymore. Or we have a future where we can thrive, where we'll be safe, where we'll know that while the world, we can't see it through a crystal ball, but we don't have to be worried about losing it all within the next couple years. As I've knocked on doors, I've gone to some of the most glorious homes that I could imagine. And a few of them I actually walked up and said, Lord, is that going to be what my mansion looks like one day? And I heard the stories of, oh my goodness, we're being taxed into oblivion, and oh my goodness, I'm worried about my kids. But then I've gone to some of those places that some of you would call a mission trip. Some of the most modest homes with the most humble citizens of Cobb County. And when they creaked their door open as I knocked, they said, what are you doing here? And when I smiled and said, I'm Alicia Adams, and I'm your candidate, your Republican candidate for commissioner, they said, we've never had a candidate come here before. And I said, all the more reason you need to vote for me, because I'm here for you. I care enough about you as an individual. It doesn't matter whether you're wealthy. It doesn't matter if you're poor. We deserve a Cobb that we can live in and thrive. We deserve to have a Cobb that our children can know the history and they can still see it. That it's not going to be overblown by Metro Atlanta. And by the way, that's what we're told to think these days. We're told to think of, oh, don't think of this as Cobb County, think of this as Metro Atlanta. And I am not running to be the Metro Atlanta commissioner. I am running to be the commissioner of Cobb County District 2. And yes, Jimmy mentioned the budgets. Oh, the bloated budgets, I've been talking to them for a long time, and that's another reason. They may be hearing, but they're not listening. They may be allowing you to come up to the lectern and speak, but they're not paying attention to you. And it's time that we all have an equal value with the Board of Commissioners. So that's my commitment. Am I in it for me? No, I'm in it for we. We can thrive. We can have a fantastic future. Fiscal lean budgeting, what a novel concept. Have you ever thought of anyone really saying, I want to cut the fat, and saying, no, we're really going to do it? Because that's what I've been telling them for a couple years. And yes, I rode the buses to expose how flawed the MSPLOS really was. And it was more nefarious than you can imagine. But I'll tell you this, and then I'll bring it to a close in a few minutes. When people ask me what I think about transit, do we need transit? Yes, we do. But transit needs to do one of two things. If we're going to expand it, it's got to either A, reach those people that will ride it and help them to have a better commute, and or it has got to reduce the traffic congestion that we're experiencing. Okay, it's just that simple. Yeah, I mean, we should all be clapping about that because, oh my goodness, we almost bought a 30-year, $11 billion boondoggle. So we're in this together. What does it take? We're in the final phase, and oh my goodness, the response has been wonderful. But we can't stop here. We've got someone that's fighting against us, and we've got to push over the finish line. So it takes each of you. If you've got friends, and I know you do, because I see your social media, you can't hide that much. Make sure that you keep telling them the story. Keep telling them the consequences, because the vision is bright for us. If we get back to the lean fiscal budgeting where, oh my goodness, our hard-earned tax dollars are actually maximized in benefit instead of being wasted. And the zoning, I bet you all kind of grimace a little bit when you think about zoning. But we've got to have zoning that doesn't create winners and losers anymore. We've got to have some win-win zoning going on. And I've heard people say, oh, Alicia doesn't like development. I like sensible development. Let me be very clear about that. I mean, I've got a sister that's an architect. Come on. You know? But at the same time, it's got to be sensible, and it's got to be a win-win. And quite frankly, you've probably heard apartment, apartment, apartment. And I'm not against apartments, but I am here to say apartments are not the only solution. And it's going to take us daring as commissioners and zoning and planning members.
Alicia, you're making my blood boil.
Oh, honey, you're just getting your cardiac test. It's okay. You'll pass. But what it's really going to take is us no longer looking at things in silos, but how it impacts every bit of our lives. So for example, remember last year they wanted to implement a stormwater fee on us both as homeowners and as business owners, right? Well, that was because they said that we needed repair in all of our stormwater systems. But I wondered about that because we've been paying part of our fees for stormwater. So I found that questionable, but then I really became concerned when they were pushing it through so quickly. And I wonder, why are they doing this? And some of you have heard this, but this is golden. This is just what we're talking about, a sleight of hand experience that we've been under. Because they were trying to push that stormwater fee through. And I happened to go to a meeting that had a lot of business stakeholders there. So I asked them, I said, it sounds like even if we implement this stormwater fee, we're still going to have to go up on our rates. Am I correct? And I'll be dogged. The director, Ms. Jones, she nodded her head. And I thought, oh my goodness, they're trying to shove this through so we don't know any better and we say yes, but then they're also going to add this to us. And that's the type of transparency that's not happening. And that's one of the big issues that I want to bring to the table. We're not going to hide it. there's a lot of backroom conversations, private things going on about plans for Cobb, and the community needs to be in Cobb. You need a voice. You need a voice. You need a voice. And all of us deserve to actually be heard and to know beforehand, before it comes to the final vote. You deserve to know about this while we're even contemplating it. That's why I'm running, because it hasn't been happening. How do I know? I've been at those meetings. So, for you, each of you, you have homework. Number one, if you do nothing else, you've got to at least tell 10 of your friends, neighbors. I don't even care if you don't like them, as long as they're Republicans, tell them. They've got to get out and vote, okay? That is mission critical. And the other thing, if you have time, maybe you don't have, you're elected. You get to come and help make sure that we get over the finish line. And whether that is phone calling, sending personal notes to your friends and saying, hey, you don't forget. Because what's gonna happen once I'm in there, you get to come. You get to see me get sworn in. And you get to tell me what you want in Cobb County, because you haven't been listened to for quite a long time. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be your candidate. Thank you for believing in me, because you're that important for me to get out of my advocacy and get into being the candidate. So, all right, it's up to us.